What's up, guys, and welcome back. So today we're going to talk about the dashboards inside a Zabbix, and in this video I'm going to explain what it is, what you can do with it. We're also going to talk about all of the possible widgets you can use inside the dashboards, and in addition, at the end of the video you will see how you can basically embed any page from, I don't know, any internet resources inside your dashboard as a widget, even a YouTube video, just like you saw that in the thumbnail of this video. So let's go. And first of all, front end, just like usually, the Zabbix 5.0 still I have dot .1, the old version, but nothing really changed. And the dashboard itself is inside the monitoring and inside the dashboard, right? Pretty straightforward. Since it is in a monitoring page, it means that any user inside a Zabbix, which could be the Zabbix user, admin, and super admin, is able to create a dashboard on himself. But of course, he won't be able to visualize information to which he doesn't have any permissions. Right, so then we go to the monitoring dashboards, and most likely when you will click here, you will see the last open dashboard that you had previously, or that will be just a default one, which will have generic information about your installation and health of the Zabbix server. But you can see this is called the global view, but you can also click on the all dashboards, and here you will see all dashboards which are shared with you or to which you have permissions to which you may have an access. If you want to create a new one, then you just click create a new dashboard, call it YouTube video, as we are used to say that in our examples. Click apply, and what else? Here you can, not here, but save changes, and here in the sharing options, we can share our dashboard. So this right now is a private one, and nobody else has access to this dashboard, so only we do. We can make it public, and then everybody will have an access to this dashboard, or it can remain private, and then just a list that Zabbix administrators will have a read-only, and let's say guests will have read and write, which doesn't make much sense, so let's better change admins to read and write and guests to read-only. Or we can add specifically only a users to delegate these permissions. So these would be about sharing options. Then how you can actually display the information. So basically all the visualization inside of Zabbix goes to the dashboards. You can of course open direct graphs and just see the latest data from the items, but mostly you are going to be basing on the dashboards, which are also optimized so you can keep them on big screens at your office. Previously in the recent versions there was also an update to support wide screens, and I believe it's possible to add up to, I think, 16 widgets. So you can create a really huge dashboard for the visualization. So how to do that? Just click to add a new widget, and then you have options to choose from existing ones. There's no really way to create your own custom widgets, but these are usually absolutely enough to display whatever you want. And like action log. I click add. So this, I have a demo installation with just one host, but mostly here you would see information about all of the actions executed. And actions are the functionality that is, first of all, sending an emails, notifying your NOC team about the problems, or maybe executing some remote commands. So here you would see when and what was actually executed, was it successful or not. In addition, this checkbox shows show header or not. If you click not, then you see it goes away, but when we hover it over, then you can again see the actual log. If you want, you can of course change the name, I don't know, again, YouTube video, apply, and you see right now it is a YouTube video. If you want to resize the widgets, it's pretty straightforward. Just drag and drop as you want, and also the widgets can be drag and dropped all over the place, wherever you want, so you can organize your dashboards as per your needs. What else do we have? We have a clock. Clock is just a clock. You can use a local time, server time, or the host time of some of the hosts that you are monitoring based on the item. Yeah. It's nothing much to add. It is just a clock without any deeper functionality. What else? Data overview. So here, as you can see, there are a bit more wider functionality to choose from, and you can choose, let's say, a host group from the selection, let's say Zabbix servers, click add, and what we see all of the data collected from this host and all of the possible items. Like, quite often people want to display all of the collected data inside the dashboards, like actual raw data from the items, but it doesn't make much sense, right? You have hundreds, thousands of items which are reporting ten thousands of the values per second, and it really doesn't make sense to display all the values in the dashboard. So I would not really recommend to use this unless you have some specific tasks for it. And in addition, you see, you will have to like scroll further on if you will have quite a lot of the items. What else you can do here? You can also change the location of the host. So from the left to the top, which groups it a bit differently, it makes it more visible and understandable, but still, I would not say that there is a big reason to watch every received data, simply because normally inside Zabbix you rely on the triggers. So when the problem will happen, then you will see it. What else? Show suppressed problems or not. You can also use application for filtering host or host group as we did. Good. So let's leave this like this. And what else do we have? Discovery status. So this pretty straightforward. There are no parameters, and here you would only see the network discovery rules and how many of hosts services are discovered as up and how many hosts or services are discovered and are down currently. So nothing really let's say not much information. Favorite graphs, maps, and screens, those would serve only as a shortcuts to some graphs, maps that you might have for the visualization, and also the screens. Again, since my installation is more or less empty with just one Zabbix server host, I don't have anything, but you can only you can add some of these entities like graphs, maps, and screens to the favorites, so it's much easier for you to access them. What else? Graph. So this actually is more or less a new widget inside of Zabbix that allows you to visualize the items in the graphs with a more prettier design than just in the monitoring latest data. So a data set where you just need to write a host name, or you can select, of course, from the existing list, like let's say Zabbix servers host group, there is a Zabbix server host. Item pattern, you can again select. First of all, search for your Zabbix server and select for items like CPU, idle time. There we go, we get the data. But you can also use a wildcards to display the data, like CPU and star asterisk, and then it should, let me again, CPU star, no, I should click enter. There we go. So CPU, wildcard, and basically we are visualizing all of the items that are starting as a CPU. And then you can do the magic with just changing the visualization of the graph. Those may be points, staircase, or bars. If it's a staircase, you can change the width of those, point size, transparency, fill, and all of the other stuff, right? You can change the color as well, of course. Then what else we have? Displaying options. So history data selection. When do we want to display just the history data or the trends data, which we don't have in this case because it's a fresh installation, or automatically decide based on what is available. Time period, the default that you want to show of this graph, the axis, minimal and maximal on the axis. Do you want it to be calculated, or do you actually want to define something? The legend, show or not show. Problems, which you also can show if there will be some problems with these items, so in terms of the triggers, and also the overrides if you want to add them. So host, item, and add a new override. That would be it about the graph. Let's make it like this. What else? Graph classic. So again, you can display just one of the existing graphs that you have, let's say the same CPU utilization, but this will be with old design, not as pretty as the graph widget we talked about previously. What else? Graph prototype. So this would be based on a low-level discovery rule where you can select just a prototype and Based on what will be discovered, you will also see discovered entities on the graphs in your dashboard. Host availability. So this is powerful. Like, select the host group, again, which you want to show. I will select all of my groups. Let's click add, and this is what we see. So I'll make this smaller, make this smaller, put this up, yeah, something like that. So host availability, where we can see that in our host groups that we mentioned, we have 2 hosts with a Zabbix agent interface available, and 0 with it not available, and 1 host with a SNMP not available. So basically, this will give you a brief overview of all of the host interfaces in the selected host groups that you want to see. If you want to display only interface type Zabbix agent, you're free to do that. Click apply, and it looks absolutely different. So 2 interfaces total in our installations, and both of them are available. What else? We can change layout to the vertical, and then it looks like this. So just again, another option of the visualization. Let's make it move it here. I will actually delete these ones. Boom. And make this one like hit this, and like this. Yes, so add a new one. Map, which will be just a map from your installation, which you already could be created inside your frontend. So monitoring maps, create a maps and move them inside a dashboards. Functionality remains the same. It will be blinking if there will be some sort of the problems, or the lines will change color. Again, it depends on the configuration. We already have a video about how you can create a maps and how to use them. So map navigation tree, if you want to create like multiple maps in multiple levels, and then just use a navigation tree to go through all of the maps that you have. The plain text widget allows you to display information from one single item. So CPU guest time as example, click add, and there we go. We can see the latest values from this item, but again, this will be just one item from all of our installation, where we most likely have thousands of items. So I don't know, decide on your own, like is there any big point of displaying just a value from one single item? And you can change the location again from left to the top if you like it better. What else? Problem hosts. A lot of the filtering options we can click add right away, and this basically is the filtering based on the host groups like Linux servers, network devices, Zabbix servers, where we have amount of the hosts without the problems and amount of the hosts with problems, where we can also see that with problem there is Zabbix server which has 2 problems with an average severity, and then we can go I am right now in the editing view, but normally you could click and go to the problems and see what is actually going on there. What else? In addition, like for the filtering, of course, you can use the host groups, or you can exclude some of those. You can select hosts, just search by the problem. So as example, search for all the problems that have string unavailable or not available in their name, or maybe only choose based on the severity. So you want to see only information about a disaster and the high problems, which can be configured on the triggers itself. Tags also can be used for the filtering. As example, let's say customer equals A, and we would see only information about our customer A. Show suppressed problems or not, so those would be closed by the maintenance, and hide groups without the problems to, let's say, offload our screen and have less numbers in the widgets, and we would see only information about those hosts that actually are having the problems. What else? Problems. Again, a lot of the filtering options, and in this one we will see basically the same as we see in the monitoring problems page. So this will have detailed information about currently active problems in your installations, with the current status, when it happened, what's the affected host, what is the problem, the previous 20 problems that you can see in the events list. It's not acknowledged, but you can do that. I will actually click save here. So you can click acknowledge and okay, I am working on this, and update, so everybody else will see that you noticed this problem and are working to fix it. Or you can just click on the Zabbix server host and, let's say, execute some sort of the front-end script, or just move on to the latest data problems or whatever else. And if we would go back to the edit options, so what kind of filtering we have, same as in monitoring problems page. So name, show recent problems or the history of the problems, include or exclude host groups, hosts, filter by the string as previously by the problem, severity, by the tags. You can also show the tags if those are assigned to the trigger, and show operational data, suppress problems, unacknowledged only, and the sorting by the time or severity or the problem or the host. So again, absolutely depends on your needs and how much of the lines which you want to visualize in one single widget. I would not recommend to overuse this because it might create some more or less extensive queries to the database. What else? Problems by severity. Again, filtering options, and similar view as we had previously here, which just groups the host groups to the amount of the hosts with problems and without problems. So this, in addition, groups them based on the severities. So in the Zabbix server host group, we have 2 problems with a severity average, and we can hover the problems and see what is actually happening. And also from here, like, we can acknowledge, and yes, we can also see my previous acknowledgement that I am already working on this. What else? Let's go further. System information, just generic information about a Zabbix, which will visualize and tell you, is your Zabbix server up and running? You can see amount of your hosts, amount of items, triggers, numbers of users online, and required server performance new values per second. And remember, this number is the only one which basically tells you the size of your installation. So not the number of items, not the number of hosts, but the new values per second. What else? Trigger overview, click add, and this again is not very not easy to understand and not easy to visualize widgets, simply because it is taking like a lot of the space. Right now I have just one host with the triggers on it, and only 2 of them are in the problem state, so it looks more or less okay. We can of course also change the position of the host name and the trigger name, but again, if you want to visualize some sort of the host group which has hundreds, thousands of the hosts, then it's not gonna be pretty straightforward. And almost the last one, so I will leave the URL to the last. And web monitoring, so if you have any web monitoring rules, which I don't have right now, from here, monitoring from monitoring hosts, and then there will be a web monitoring, and you can display all the information here. So then you can just rearrange the widgets as you need. You can change the locations of those and move them larger, bigger, and then let's say click save, run it inside a kiosk mode, and press F11 to, let's say, run it on a full screen at your office, and you always can see what is going on, and you can go to the events directly and see the problem. And the last one, so that I wanted to show you, is how you can actually embed any information from the internet to your dashboard. So I will first of all delete the widget that we just created, just to make my page less abusive, let's say, with all of the widgets. And let's get back here. So I clicked edit. I will delete this and this, so deleting all the widgets just to add some space for me, and delete just this one line, delete and delete. So you saw that there is another type of the widgets, which is URL, and it's kind of pretty straightforward, right? There's a name, refresh interval, and a URL. But if you, let's say, want to add youtube.com and click add, what will happen? You will see that the page is not found because it is always trying to refer to /Zabbix, www, and the URL that you are providing in the parameters. So what we actually need to do is we need to open a CLI, and I will zoom this in a little bit. So we need to open CLI, and remember that all of the front-end files by default are stored in the user share Zabbix. So here you can see all the front-end files. And if you want to visualize something here, then you need to create a file HTML or maybe a PHP file in the root directory of your Zabbix frontend. So let's say if you have a YouTube video of mine, of course, that you want to show to your, I don't know, NOC team, then it's absolutely enough to click here on share button. Then there is embed, and we already get a code. So that's it. You can just copy paste this, go back to your CLI and create, let's say, video.html file, and just copy paste the information from the web browser that we just got to your new file. Click write and quit, and video.html. So this is what we need to use. So go back to configuration of the widget, and without any www, just type video.html, and there we go. If you want to change the size of this, of course, you can move the widget, and you can also actually this looks pretty fine, but if you would want to change something else, you can also do that, of course, in the code itself, like width and height. So this, yeah, let's say we don't like this URL page, so we can always just hide it, show header, no, I don't want to show it, and that's it. And save the dashboard, and it's ready to go. You can click play, it will move on, and everything will work. So yeah, let's say you want to add some sort of the Twitter feed, which I also try to do, and you can see that in the this thumbnail. Yes, thumbnail of the video. So go to the twitter.com. I will open my profile. I will grab the URL and search for embed Twitter feed. It's first not add URL, so how to embed a timeline. And what we need to do is go to this page, enter a URL, embedded tweet, embedded timeline. Yeah, let's make it a timeline like here. Preview. Yes, then set customization options. Let's say I want to make it dark. Update. And again, we have a code. Then we can go back to our CLI, vi twitter.html, and copy paste, right quit, go back to your front end, add a new widget, here URL, twitter.html, click add, and it's done. Easy as that. So that is the way how you can embed any information from the internet, which could also not be internet. It could be, let's say, some sort of the intranet page that you have in your company, which has some sort of the guidelines where you can embed the page from your ticketing system, so you could always see the active tickets in your environment. And just with a native dashboard and a widget functionality. So that's about it, guys. Hope you liked it. If you do, please subscribe, and you will definitely see more of such videos. Leave some sort of the comment and press the like button, and we will definitely see you in the next video. So goodbye.